Right, so I am playing with Canvas with OpenAI's. What do we got here? With OpenAI's Canvas. I can say I'm not impressed. Just like O1, the thinking AI model, I don't think this is anything other than just a modified GPT-4. And I think it's just calling itself. It's basically giving you little UI inputs to make you feel like it's doing thinking, but all it's doing is calling itself. It's basically creating a list of things it needs to do, calling itself and doing these things in the background, and then giving you the end result. So you're not having to do the prompting, it is doing it for you, which is just, I guess, easier for a layman to do. But let me kind of show you what I mean. So this is an article. I write about 500 word articles for my newsletter once a week, heavily used by AI, but I basically have a series of agents. So I have one AI that kind of does the research on the stories, and then I scrape content from the web to kind of act as the source material for that story. And then I use that source material plus the story idea to write an article, or sorry, to write an outline. And then I take that outline and then the source material, write a draft, and then I take that draft and the source material and have a final edit done. And I do the same thing with articles that are, 1,500 words long. So I've been using GPT-4 with Canvas to, just test out and write an article for me. And look at this run on paragraph. Like, this is basically what I ended up with. So let me show you how I got here. What was the first thing I said? Okay, so here's what I use in order to. I use kind of a series of prompts to find articles for me to write about. It's basically, think of this as like someone who works at a newspaper or a magazine who like pitches stories. That's what this is. And so I said, I want examples where a product or service wasn't what the company ended up making a lot of money on. So they started doing something and then something else happened, because one of my companies, Better Legal, is kind of in that boat right now where we might have something that is more valuable that isn't the main product. So I basically took this and then I gave it this prompt. So I'm just going to do this from a new prompt or new window so you can see what it does. And the goal here is not to write the 500 word article, it is to write a 1,500 word article, because ChatGPT and its context window is not good at being able to write a long article that is good for SEO. If you just say, ChatGPT, write me an article, and you post it, it's going to be a junky article. And we don't want that. We want a nice, well-executed 1,500 word article, because that's going to perform better with SEO. And so here, I'm going to give it this. And the idea is that it's the smart version, so it should be able to do this. Okay, so we do have an article. This is basically what it would do anyway. And we're going to see how long this starts off. It's actually quite a bit longer than this version that I had started with. And the other thing is that it doesn't, so I can't see the older versions. Like, I can't go back. So in a long chat, you can go back and see what it did in between, but this is not letting you do that unless, yeah, I don't like this at all, really. All right, so let's take this. Here we go. Let's see how long this is. This actually looks kind of long, so this might be 612. Okay, but that's generally kind of where it caps out. It doesn't really know how to go beyond about 600 words. 600 is actually one of the longer ones that I've seen. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, okay, so I'm using GPT-4. Oh, okay, let's do this again. Interesting. Let's do this again with Canvas. Okay. So it's already doing a shorter article. Why do I want? I don't want a short article. Let's do a longer article. So what you can't see here is that I have the ability to kind of like make it longer. But all it's doing is making these paragraphs longer, which is not necessarily a good thing. So let's make it even longer. Let's do that a couple times and just see what it comes out with. But yeah, this is not just, nobody wants to read these walls of text. So I'm going to do it one more time, see what it comes out with, and see how long we can get it. All right, so we actually did get it to be long. Okay, so this is actually doing it much better than my other example. Let's see how many words it is. All right, so I'm wrong. But why didn't it do it here is the question. So let's keep making this longer. Because look at this paragraph. Okay, maybe it just needed to be... Now, granted, I haven't read this, so I can't tell you whether it's any good or where it's getting its information from. Okay, so this one is longer. Okay, so now let's see what happens if I... What are these options here? Suggest edits. What is this? Why are you telling me to do this? Oh, apply. So this is... Consider simplifying the opening sentence to make it more direct. Fine. But it's not addressing the very long paragraph. Unless it just thinks that that's an appropriate length of a paragraph, which, you know, maybe for an article, but not for a newsletter. I don't know. I'm understanding what it's doing. I'm still not that impressed because what it's doing is it's breaking these things up by paragraph, and it's basically taking it outside of itself. It's taking it outside of the chat, running this as a side prompt, and then inserting it, and then just giving you some visual cues to make it seem like. So there's nothing. So in a nutshell, there's nothing that any entrepreneur couldn't do to replicate this. Now, it would be a lot of work, but let's see. Okay, so let's add final polish. Yes, there's nothing that it can't do on its own, or there's nothing you can't. It's not doing anything that you can't do without it. It's just making it easier for you to be able to do it, and easier for the average person to do it, and use this as like a tool that they work within. I prefer things that are more automated, where I can just feed it, you know. Still not to 1,500 words, but this isn't terrible. I have to read the article to see how it did, but yeah. So this is me using Canvas for writing. I wouldn't do this probably. The other thing is that, you know, I've got a bunch of set prompts where I have GPT set up, which I'm going to automate and to make into its own workflow, where I don't have to do all of this manual back and forth. This is great for someone who is going to basically just doesn't want to write in Word anymore, and they want to mess with it here. Can I, yeah, so this is like they're trying to make a replacement for a word processor, which for the average person, I can see, oh, but I can't go back. I can't do Command Z, so that's no good. So I understand the point of it. It's not for someone who wants to automate stuff. This is for someone, this is to create a tool to get people out of Excel, out of Google Sheets, out of Microsoft Word, out of Google Docs, and for this to be the new productivity UI that you work within most of the time. And this is just an evolution, and I foresee them making more tools where you can start hooking up your email and emailing these things and doing that. Anyway, so this is me using Canvas. I think it's okay. I wouldn't use it, but I can see why someone less technical that doesn't want to do automation would.